Sometimes we can get so deep into something, and I've been there a lot myself, so deep into the heart of something, that we miss the simplistic, surface level reading of the text. Just as simple that Jesus says, I'm not going to know, you're not going to know, not even the angels know, only my Father knows. It's like times three. He's basically stating, you're not going to know. I'd like to do just a talk with you, no fancy editing, just maybe a little editing, but not a whole lot. Just to talk with you about this day, September 23rd of 2017, or what would be Tishri 1. That's the 7th month, the first day, which makes the number 8, which is interesting. 7 and 1 is 8. You're in the year of 2017. You're in the Hebrew year of 5777. That's 3 sevens, and it will turn to the number 8, a little infinity symbol, on that date on the Hebrew calendar. Before we even get into this, right now, today, the talk of as I make this video, the talk of the world news is about North Korea threatening not only the world, but the United States with bolstering its nuclear power. The tape I'm fixing to play you comes from Kim Clement in 2009. This is in the same tape where Kim was talking about the year that people would be looking up at a sign that they believed was a woman in the sky, pregnant to give birth, and would give birth to a move of spirit. But wait, I had actually finished this tape that I'm about to play for you now. I was fixing to finish it, put the touch on it, and upload it. And I clicked on one spot in a 2-hour tape, and then this played.
South Korea, North Korea shall become one, says the Lord. North Korea, I've already written on the wall, mene, tekel pasa. God said, your days are numbered. You have been counted in the balances. Therefore, Kim, it is now time for you to face this that you have done. America shall look and say, what is this happening? We thought we could make peace through United Nations. Hey! What is the United Nation? It is an evil force, says the Lord, that is a stench to my nostrils. They are not what I have called. God said, my church shall arise and invade the kingdoms of this world, and the kingdoms of this world shall become the kingdoms of our God and his Christ, says the Lord. Come on!
By the way, there's boxes. That video that I sort of put together rather rapidly, that had some stuff that Kim said, that comes out of boxes of VHS tapes that Donnie and Jane, Kim's wife, his daughter, one of his daughters, have been combing through tons of stuff. And a lot of that stuff is about America, a lot of it's about Russia, a lot of it's about Saudi Arabia, a lot of it's about, it's your current world news in advance, a lot of it on old VHS tapes. That's what that is. That's what, well, she happened through that box and she found one. She went back and forth about, I don't know if I want to use it, have it out there. I said to her, I said, Donnie, there's no time left. Now's the time. If you're going to do it. And she did share that with me. Scott Clark. Scott's heart is on the rap. That's the most incredible teaching videos, or close to, on the book of Revelation. There's nobody. He's got, every time I talk to Scott, he's got Bibles full of highlighted passages, pouring through that book of Revelation and finding things that nobody else will find, that are going to take you like a treasure hunt all throughout the biblical text. Some of them, like any commentator on anything, some of them you'll agree with, some of them you won't. Scott's heart, man, he loves that rapture thing. So for that part of it, for years I would tell Scott, can't we just back out of that? Because geopolitically, it sort of looks like we're not quite there yet. And also, sometimes you can have a man whose research needs to be credited in this case, because he is the one that found the sign up in the stars, or this coordination, whether it's the Revelation 12 sign or not. It is a coordination of stars that looks like what's being described by John, by Yohanan John, in the book of Revelation in chapter 12. It sort of looks like the thing. And it's up there. And he's the guy that went through day after day, looking at all of these dates and trying to find some. I remember him doing it. I remember him up for days, which is not what the Lord would want any of us. He has a passion. Sometimes when you're working on the boat, you pull some long hours putting those pegs in. But he was pouring through and diligently was finding these things and research that went along with them. But that doesn't necessarily make them the rapture. But also, had he not believed, and that's still, at the point I'm making this video, hasn't materialized whether it's true or not, I don't think it is the rapture. And the number one reason why I will state that I don't believe that it is that all of the dates and prophecies that we'll examine and we'll touch on in this all have to do with Israel. So I don't know why it would go Israel, church. And also one of the prophecies by Rabbi Judah ben Samuel. 3 parts of this prophecy, and the last part of it, here again, deals with Israel. And you're in a time period where these culminate. All of these neat things, these neat dates, these neat numbers, they all do culminate on one date. And Scott's largely who put all that together so you could look at it. But all of that stuff focuses around Israel. All of it, all those prophecies, all those neat numbers, they really are pointing like a beeline straight to Israel. And here you are with a president. You haven't had a president in quite a while that's really supported Israel. Now you've got a heavy supporter of Israel. This behind me that's driving towards Tiberias in Israel right there. This is the first time in a long time in America that you've had a president in office that supports Israel. And it's during times where America has supported Israel that you have the most prosper in this nation. Now, there's some specific prophecies from Kim Clement, and another reason, I skipped the initial reason why, that the rapture won't be on that date. The largest one to me is because Jesus himself, he says a trifecta of things, that no man will know that day or hour. Then he goes on, next one, not even the angels, not even the Son. That's a ×3 right there. And then further down in the path, only the Father. Now, the model of this, and this is a place where theologies get challenged. But what I would personally, the bride of Christ. You hear this in Kim's tape, this bride of Christ. And you can have 2 different storylines going at once. In fact, Kim, in that very tape that I played in the signs video, he says, a sign in the sky is likened unto a generation, I believe he says. But use the word likened unto. All throughout the Bible, you have these types and shadows. You can have something that literally happens to Israel, and you can have a type and shadow of something that happens to the church. In fact, this happens a lot. It may even happen every time. The Bible is layered with dimensional content. And so is prophecy. So back to this idea of the bride of Christ. The bride of Christ. Well, on down, we come up to Matthew 25. So Matthew 24, where we have the no man knows the day or the hour, not even the angels, not even the Son, no man, only the Father. Well, right over in 25, we have the parable of the 10 virgins. There were 10 plagues in Egypt. 10 is a number of completion. There, in fact, in that prophecy from Rabbi Judah ben Samuel, you're at the 10th Jubilee. 10th Jubilee. I'm pretty certain that if Jesus said that he doesn't know the day or the hour, and not the angels, and no man, only the Father, that includes any one of us here, no matter how hard we try at it, that includes. And sometimes we can get so deep, because that passage could mean also the Feast of Trumpets on some year. And that's got its own ambiguities and issues in looking at, figuring out and discerning what that. But that could actually be. In fact, I really love that part of the research. I fell in love with that in a heartbeat. That could be code for the Feast of Trumpets of some year. But here's the issue there, is that sometimes we can get so deep into something, and I've been there a lot myself, so deep into the heart of something, that we miss the simplistic, surface level reading of the text. Just as simple that Jesus says, I'm not going to know, you're not going to know, not even the angels know, only my Father knows. That's like times 3. He's basically stating, you're not going to know. And the message there, as we come up to Matthew 25, gets more emphasized in a parable, in my view, in my interpretation of the parable. The parable of the 10 virgins. That the idea here is that you're ready. And by ready, I just mean, really what I don't mean is ready as much as right. Right in your spirit. And that actually comes, I'm quoting Rabbi Brian Hall when I state that, because he's the one that said that. That if we knew the day or the hour, then we would just do whatever we wanted, and then about that time we'd get ourselves all cleaned up. Or after that date passed, you should really be nervous is after that date passes. So the Lord tends, listen to the next parable. Here's what the next parable is. That you had the sound of a trump, right? And all of you, before the rapture, in any of your texts, whether you're looking at Revelation 3 turning into 4, and I heard, as it were, a voice, the sound of a trumpet. You got a president named Trump. Well, prior to, in a Jewish wedding, which is what you're looking at with the 10 virgins, and I know that it says virgins and not bridesmaids or whatever someone else might like it to say, but in that parable, so they all know that the bridegroom is coming. They all know this. They all know this. They were all asleep. And they were told, boom, wake up, with the sound, as it were, of a trumpet, right? They're told, wake up, time to wake up. Sleeping brides, sleeping virgins, wake up, all 10 of them. And they all knew the bridegroom was coming. Now, in a Jewish wedding, right, the bride goes in, and what he does is he pays the bridegroom, he pays a price for the bride. So, and he speaks to her and said, this is what I can pay. This is what I can pay for you. Will you accept that? And if she accepts what the price that the bridegroom pays, if she accepts that, then she is at that moment sealed. They are both sealed together. Now, whether you say that they were born again at that moment or born again at a later, these are word games. She is sealed. They are bound at that moment as bride and groom. She is sealed till the day that they will be together. Then the bridegroom is going to go back to his father's house and prepare a place for her. And she doesn't know when he's coming back. He doesn't know. Not even the bridegroom knows, because he's going back to his father's place. Only his father. Now, he may know roughly when he's going to have it ready. He may know when it's done. But this comes to a legal authority issue. That's what this always boils down to, all of it, a legal authority, because he's got to go to the father and say, it looks like it's done. Can I go get her? And the dad's got to say, yep, I think you've got it done. Go get her, son. That's what's happened. The moment the father says that, go get her. Go pick your bride up. It's ready. The harvest is ready. I'll tell you right now in the state of things, the harvest is not ready. The bride is not a good bride. She is not a spotless bride. But once the father says, go get her, son, the next thing that happens is someone goes ahead of the bridegroom's party to blow the trumpet. Now, the bridegroom has not gotten there yet, and it's undeterminate how long he will take. And I credit all of this part, I'm quoting you here, to Paul Lear, who has done his book on the rapture, the bride, the redeemed. Perry Stone shed a lot of light on this stuff, and this man, Paul Lear, I tell you, takes it a step further. Special thanks to Perry Stone. Special thanks also to my friend Paul Lear. We're doing deeper studies on this. A trump is blown at about the midnight hour. Boy, isn't that funny? About the midnight hour. Now, she doesn't know, but she knows the time is to wake up, that he's coming. He is at some point now, he is on his way. The time is close, even at the door. That's That's what you're reading. That's what you're reading in Matthew 24, right? I'm even at the door. It's undetermined exactly what that means, but it's even at the door. Could mean 200 years. Now, watch what it says next. They all got up because they heard the trump, sound of midnight. Oh, it's time to get up. But the bridegroom tarried longer than what they had thought. He tarried longer. So about half of them, the oil in their lamps, the oil of the Holy Spirit. That's what you would need to go. That's what you're reading in the text. The bride comes out of the body, right? Eve came out of Adam. Adam would have saw her as a part of himself. But the bride is not the total body. The bride has to have her lamp, her oil. You don't hide your lamp under a bowl, do you? You put it up for all to see. The Holy Spirit doesn't mean you're perfect, but the Holy Spirit is inside of you. That's how you would be taken in a rapture, is that you had the Spirit of the Lord. That the Lord cannot leave the little grandmothers. Let me tell you something about the Lord. How I believe he did. How I saw in my mind one day. There was a little lady that lived downstairs from me. This is when I was doing the Nephilim thing, and and she would sit down there and she'd listen to KSBJ or whatever the Christian station was, and I'm sure most of the religious people would say, well, satanic because there's music in there, and everything's satanic. And I would watch those that are always pointing fingers. There's a religious spirit that is heavy, heavy, heavy in this land. Sometimes it's the simplicity of the verse. Just put your eyes on Jesus. And the Lord says he inhabits the praises of his people. And this little lady, she'd listen to that KSBJ. I'm sure it's satanic, right? This little lady, she would sit there and she'd listen to her little KSBJ, and she would collect the cans, right? In fact, all the neighbors would give her cans because you knew she didn't have much, and she wanted those cans. She'd get a little extra money because she wanted to get the pie materials so she could make pies for the grandkids. The grandkids that are on drugs, they're sleeping around, they're getting pregnant, doing everything bad, but she didn't see none of that, just like the Lord doesn't see any of that. She just hoping and praying that those grandkids would come by, just pray for him. Oh boy, more bad stuff. He got arrested again. Got caught with the drugs. Oh no, he's selling the drugs. Oh no, they're all doing bad. They're sleeping. Oh no, she had another kid with another guy, and she just, but maybe they'll come by and have one of my pies. Maybe they just come by for a few, and then when they do come by, they don't even have 5 minutes for it because they got to get back to their drugs and their sex and all that other stuff. She's just praying for them, and she's just down there singing along with the Christian music and praying. And what the Lord showed me, all this wickedness that goes on in the world, where they sacrifice children, they do stuff that is so sick and dark it would churn your gut. Yet the Lord tolerates all of that evil. All of that evil, and provides a place with enough prosper that she can have enough cans to go get an extra thing of whipped cream, because those grandkids, they might stop by and spend 30 minutes with her, and she's been praying for them. She's just been praying for them. Those grandkids are on everything. But she just wants that 30 minutes, and boy, she'd like to afford that whipped cream and some cherries, some extra cherries to put on there for them. So she'll give them some of that pie. The Lord would let the world burn. Let some of the worst things occur, so that there could be enough prosper in this place, so she could have that pie with 2 cans of whipped cream and all the cherries she wanted. That's the heart of our God. He is not going to let that little old lady go through see, when he's pulling people out that have the Holy, he's not going to say, bye-bye, I'll see you in 7 years. He's not going to let her go through the wrath of God. See, that's what a bride looks like, and we're not there. The bride is not perfection. Bride is not perfection. A bride is a desire. A bride is a desire to love, and that manifests by the fact that you're even concerned. You're doing this, that, and the other thing. Lord just wants us to come back. I'll tell you one other thing. Let me tell you something about calendars, and then calendars, they're special days. So this is a day coming up, September 23rd. There's a lot of stuff that falls on this day. Even the Jews on Wall Street. I mean, they don't, hey man, you sell on Rosh Hashanah, you buy on Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah is the first and second day of the Hebrew month of Tishri. But that's a common, I mean, this is so common with these dates on a normal year that's not just practice, that's policy, man. That's policy. All the Jews know this. You're on a Jubilee year. It's an extra special one. Then you got all sorts of prophecies leading that date. Hey, you might even have a thing in the sky that matches with the text. You might. I don't know, but you might. Looks similar. And then you've got all the dates of Israel. 1947, 1967, they get Jerusalem back, a perfect 50-year Jubilee, and there you are. All of those things have to do with Israel. So you've got a president in office that is awfully supportive of Israel. Moving into the end times is not going to be a weekender for God. This is a setting of a stage. This is a setting of a stage, and you're watching that geopolitically. Throughout the world, things come together. Islam has a lot of things. Islam doesn't know who's in charge. You've got the Sunnis and the Shiites. You have not. Damascus is still out there. You've got the Gog-Magog war. You've got a number of things. And your prophetic texts, they're getting close. You're watching them heat up. But also, you've got examples of things where it looks like it gets close and then it backs off some more. The Lord can do what he wishes. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about calendars and dates. Every week, you've got dates that are important, and we miss them. The Sabbaths were dates. And I'm not telling you to observe. But you've got dates that are important. Every week. The reason the Lord created us is to worship him, to have communion with him, to have a relationship with our King, our Father, that created this place we're in. And that's how we get our guidance, too. By communicating with him, how do we get guidance? Every week we have dates that we, largely, most of us completely ignore. And then occasionally we have special dates. That's what all those feasts are. Those feasts are special days for us to come and give thanks to the Lord. And then occasionally, like on this particular day, this is an extra special one. I'd like to point this out about extra special dates, that God is not a showman for us to put on it, that the expectancy shouldn't be, a special date rolled around, then I guess it's time for us to kick back because God's going to put on a show. No. This is not God putting on a show for us. Not any special. Now, sometimes he does. There are things that, look, there are days where things happen but all those dates, those Sabbaths, those are times for us. See, God already provided everything. He's already put on the show. He's already put on. We're either thankful or we're not. We either want his direction or we don't. It's as simple as that. No, those dates that he sets in place on his calendar are dates where we fall in default because we fail to come before and honor our King. What I'm telling you, my interpretation is, and this is immune to anything that may have, you could have things that, you're watching the prophecies that come are already fulfilled because you're watching things elevate from, you got more and more of them that are more and more precise that I'd like to take you through. And we're going to. You're going to be stunned. In fact, some stuff the other night that we'll get into it. Here's the deal. So what this means to me, and that's aside from rapture dates, I don't think we're there yet. Geopolitically, there's a lot of pieces that are left. Even if I'm to read the passage, even if I'm to interpret the next passage there in Revelation, I think it's 12:5, and then the verse afterwards uses the word harpazo. Even if that's true, you've got examples in your biblical text, in fact, frequently, where between one verse and the other are separated by thousands of years. And this happens a lot in the text, particularly if it's a parenthetical or a summary of events. Let me give you an example. If I said to you, the United States was born and George Washington was president, then came Barack Obama. Well, those are two sentences, but they're separate. Immediately, they're separated by a lot of time. Same thing here, and that's assuming that we're interpreting the passage right, and that's assuming that this is actually the revelation. That's assuming a lot of factors. If there were events to occur, I would assume that they would be surrounding or encompassing Israel. That's just what I would assume, and that's sort of what you're watching politically in the world anyway. So that goes hand in hand. I mean, it's astounding even right now, if nothing happens on that day, that 800 years ago someone prophesied this is where we would be, because you're looking at the beginning of end time events unfolding. And I do not believe that necessarily means the last step. In fact, I don't believe it means you're not there yet. You're simply not there yet. But that doesn't mean that the rapture can't happen the day afterwards or the day before. Let me state that. The Lord is very specific in the text that he wants to surprise you. It's going to be when you don't think so. That's what I'm reading in the text. So the idea there is to be ready. Be ready for our King. And also to enjoy this place as much as we can. Paul and Silas were singing praises while they were in the jail cells. And that's the spirit that I long for. That's the spirit that I desire. This place is not meant to be just a clenching the nerves kind of religious thing, or on the other end of it, a hardcore secular pointing the finger thing. It's meant to be, God created the place for, if you can't have joy here, how are you going to have joy up there? And if you don't love the King who made all of this, and you don't even want to break bread with him, he always comes with the food and the wine, man. That's the goal. Every time you see Jesus, he's got food, man. Nearly every time. He's the guy that brings the party, and he didn't hang out with the religious crowd. They put him on the cross. No, he was hanging out with the tax collectors, the sailors, and the prostitutes. And their lives were coming out of it. They were full of joy for the first time. He's the King that throw your nets on that side. That's where the fishes are. And all of these have deeper symbolisms. I understand that. I'm the first guy that understands that. I love every last one of you. The message in all of that is come back. Do you want to prosper for your land? Do you want to prosper for your families? Even the wicked want these things. My name is Trey Smith. God bless every last one of you on the other side of the screen. And we just got back from the Holy Land, Israel. And I went with those evil, wicked, satanic, a lot of satanic rock and roll stuff. You know what? It's not. The Lord had us there. In fact, what I've come to find out over the years is that the people that listen to the God in a Nutshell stuff, the least of them are people from the rock and roll world. Rick was the one that put together some of the music for the president, Donald Trump. At the time he was running. In fact, Rick has done music for many Republican and Democrat alike, and been instrumental in a lot of the music that you hear right now today. And it was an honor. There were doors in Israel that opened that you're watching. And these two discs, these two DVDs, the doors that open that probably are not going to open for you. On it, I'm not meaning that they're just probably not. Having a rock star, stuff opens. And that's what you're going to see on film. I uploaded a YouTube intro of the first one. This thing gets powerful as you get on into it. And have I lied to you before? I probably look the best of anything that I've ever made on a coffee table, but it's not just on the coffee table. I'll be very straight with you. The Spirit of the Lord moved through this one, and particularly the second one. These shots behind me, it's the chateau and the water back there. This is practicing flying the drone, which we nearly wrecked to it. We nearly did, but what fun would it be if we didn't? The Lord took us into places, and you know why I think the Lord did that? Why you've got on tape stuff that other people don't have on tape. This might be the last time you're able to see that stuff. I mean, I'm not stating that for a fact. Could be the last time, but I know this. All the places where they say it's dangerous. We went in there. I went in there with the 70-year-old Roxy. This was Rick's 70th birthday this year. Isn't that funny? This is the year that he ends up going. And he did wonderful. He was tropic. I forgot that he was 70. And he loves playing those rock songs. I went to several of his shows with him after we came back from Israel. And I man, gosh, Rick, it's got to, you've been playing these songs a lot, man. These people who see it once at a show and, he broke down. He started crying in the back of the car. He broke down there at the Garden Tomb. That's a shot right there where he broke down. And I don't know if you can see it or not. Man, he cried like a baby in the Garden Tomb. And you can feel the Lord's presence in there. Lord took us on this trip. Wasn't that green grass right there, the drone landing? Lord took us on this trip to Israel. I want you to be able to take this trip to Israel. This is not the tour bus version of Israel when you step into the Holy Land. Copies of Holy Land are available over at godinanutshell.com, and for years over at God in a Nutshell, we've been slowly making improvements. We're at a point now where not only deliver occasionally full-length documentaries, which the next things that are going to come that I've got on the docket, and I'm not sure they'll be in this order, there are a lot of shots from the Holy Land. I'm going to take you a walk through the steps of Jesus in a way no one else. Trust me, I got this. Just like on this, if you haven't seen this yet, you see this. The Holy Spirit, there is not a video, maybe, I don't know if that's true, but I can tell you this, the Holy Spirit walked us through those sites, even the dangerous places. Even in Sodom, there were two dudes on a pink towel. I'm not stating it. Look, I don't know why they didn't show up on film. I know this, they were making animal noise. What were they doing out there? In the middle of the white sand, in the middle of where no one is. I figured they're just out there because maybe they're rebellious, they're making a statement, they're French kissing and stuff like this, and on a pink towel with a big burning thing. Making a statement to who? Who are they waiting for? In the middle, look, the Lord took us on a trip. He's taking you on a trip. With the God in a Nutshell project, we're going to take you on more of a trip. In those pages, stuff that's not on YouTube, go over there and subscribe. Prophetic things that you're just like right here, what you're watching, that you're not going to find anywhere else. Even if you disagree with the stuff, it is competent. You already know that it is. Next two things that we're working on are going to be a presentation on Jesus that won't be like anything else. And of course, the Exodus that I've talked about for years. And the reason that hasn't come yet is because I've got something very, very, and that's not going to try, very, very special for that. Holy Land, godinanutshell.com. Even if you can't get a copy today, make sure you subscribe at godinanutshell.com, because we have got stuff coming for you that will only be available at godinanutshell.com. I'm Trey Smith. God bless, as always. God bless every single one of you on the other side of this screen.